and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. Today, Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch will be joining us to look back at the Quincy 400 events of this year, maybe look ahead to America 250 next year. First, though, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, it is 29 degrees with brilliant sunshine. That wind has got a bit of a bite to it. It's going to continue all day today. Temperatures barely reaching freezing this afternoon with, again, the wind chill in the low to mid-20s. Another chilly night tonight under cloudy skies. Lows drop off into the mid-20s. Kind of wintry tomorrow. Have some snow probably moving in by midday and lasting through the evening hours. Temperatures tomorrow in the mid-30s. The snow could accumulate about an inch or so by tomorrow night. And then Wednesday, it's rather quiet with a mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures in the mid-30s. Christmas Day itself on Thursday looks really pleasant. Maybe more clouds than sun, but pretty mild. The high Thursday near 40 degrees. We turn wintry again toward the end of the week. The chance for a couple of more messy systems on Friday and Saturday. But again, sunshine, 29 in Quincy right now. Checking out the news for you today, a proposal for a large new apartment complex in Wollaston Center will be withdrawn. Deputy Planner Rob Stevens told the Planning Board last week the proposal for an 8-story, 321-unit apartment complex for Beale Street will not be moving forward.
It's not listed, but I did want to just make a statement here that the department did receive a withdrawal letter for the Beale Street project. That would be 42 Beale Street. It was the proposed large multifamily in Wollaston. That matter was continued from the November meeting to the January meeting. But since we already had the withdrawal request, I thought it important to at least mention it to the board. That matter will be back before this board for the January meeting for your official deliberation on that request. But thought that word could maybe get out to the public a little bit so they don't have to come into that meeting if it's not moving forward.
Stevens said the developers will formally withdraw the proposal at the January 14th Planning Board meeting. Many residents, including Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch, said that project was too large for that area. The future of the former Eastern Nazarene College property in Quincy remains a question mark after a former student withdrew plans to buy the school. 2006 graduate Graham Crane from Crane Development of Kansas notified the ENC Transition Board he will not be moving forward with plans to purchase the 25-acre parcel in Wollaston. Earlier this year, Crane said that he did want to buy his former school and create a development that would benefit the entire community. Initial plans for several hundred apartments was met with resistance by neighbors and officials who called it too dense for the neighborhood. The Planning Board did approve a proposal for 30 single-family homes and 2 multi-family homes. Last month, the Transition Board announced that they are now open to other offers, as the sale would not be moving forward. ENC closed last year after over 100 years in Quincy. Our preparations are underway to welcome 7 new members to the Quincy City Council next year. City Clerk Nicole Crispo says State Auditor Diana DeZoglio will be a special guest during the ceremony on January 5th at 6 p.m. in the Great Hall at Quincy City Hall.
We'll be doing the swearing in of the new City Council on January 5th at 6 p.m. This should be an exciting evening. Diana DeZoglio from the State Auditor will be here to make some remarks. We're excited for that. And I've spoken with Ann Mahoney. She'll be the council president. And beyond that, I really don't know anything about, committees or things like that yet, but we're finishing up the program for the swearing in now, putting the final touches on that. And the invitations are with the counselors. And so, yeah, it should be a fun evening.
David Jacobs will be the new Ward 1 councillor, Walter Hubley in Ward 3, Virginia Ryan in Ward 4, Maggie McKee for Ward 5, and Deb Riley for Ward 6. Ann Mahoney and Susan Yuan will be sworn in as new councillors at large. Mahoney will be the next City Council president. Ward 2 councillor Richard Ashe ran unopposed this year. Noel DeBona was re-elected to another 2-year term. Mahoney says that new Ward 6 councillor Deb Riley will chair the Finance Committee. New Ward 5 councillor Maggie McKee will be chairman of the Ordinance Committee. And new Ward 1 councillor David Jacobs will chair the Oversight Committee. The Quincy School Committee recently said goodbye to 3 longtime school officials as they step down from their roles. Michael Dracchio is retiring after 30 years as Director of Safety, Security, and Transportation. And school committee members Doug Gutrow and Emily Lebo didn't seek re-election this year. Gutrow served 8 years on the committee, Lebo with 14. Kate Campbell and Tom Leung were elected to fill their seats, and Tina Cahill won re-election to her second 4-year term. The new members will be sworn in during the first school committee meeting of the new year on January 7th at 6 p.m. in the Coddington Building. Well, even as the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission recently approved cannabis consumption cafes, state lawmakers remain critical of that agency entrusted to oversee the cannabis industry. State Representative Taki Chan of Quincy warned commission members that their days are numbered.
The agency is a mess. They have no proper leadership, and they're trying to put out public policy, which should be slamming the brakes and doing anything right now, because there's a distinct chance by end of next year they may not exist anymore on having a job. Speaking of stupid, I mean, the legislature is coming for them. They're all going to be those commissioners are going to be unemployed, and they feel the need to do something now. Why? We're going to unemploy you guys.
Now, the House and the Senate have passed separate bills to overhaul the commission, but they've not come to a joint decision on how to change the agency. The commission said it would likely take at least a year before the first licenses are issued for cannabis consumption cafes, and cities and towns must opt in to allow the cafes in their communities. Quincy Community Action Programs will be getting almost $9,000 from funds that were set aside for projects in Ward 6. At last week's City Council meeting, Ward 6 Councilor William Harris said the agency will put those funds to good use.
You know, there's some good that can be done with this money, and to be real quick, QCAP, Quincy Community Action Program, simply put, is the leading private nonprofit organization in the greater Quincy area dedicated to reducing poverty and helping the low-income residents achieve financial stability and security. Community engagement, advocacy for racial, social, and economic justice. QCAP assists pathways to assist families and individuals from diverse backgrounds in their efforts to realize economic opportunity and create meaningful connections to improve the quality of their lives. I ask for the council to remember QCAP helps every single ward in this and touches every single ward in this city. So I ask motion to approve and ask for your support. Thank you.
And the proposal did receive unanimous support. Harris said he was inspired by a similar move by Ward 4 Councilor James Devine, who moved Ward 4 mitigation funds to QCAP and to the Southwest Middle School. It's our check of news for you today. Coming up, Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch will be joining us for a year-end wrap-up and a preview of what's to come. That's next. Welcome back. You know, we had the mayor here at the beginning of the year to talk about what was to come in 2025 for Quincy 400. He was gracious enough to stop by around July or so to give us a mid-year update. So I thought, what better way to end the year than to have Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch join us and take a look back at how things went. Thank you, Mayor, for coming over. Really appreciate it.
Glad to be here, Joe.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to review what will become history eventually, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every day we make history, right?
This is true. talking about Quincy 400. The events are just about winding down now here at
Right,
the end of the year.
right.
How do you think it went, Mayor?
I think it went extremely well. You know, we were planning for several years, as you know. Karen O'Toole gave her the baton to take the lead on it, but my entire staff, department heads, city employees, everybody jumped in. Everybody had a part. Everybody made it work, and everyone was excited about it. Dan Quirk was a huge sponsor. Appreciate him. The Quirk Auto Dealers, the Santander Bank, and a number of other sponsors who helped us put it on. For those folks that don't know, we did use hotel tax for the large portion of the expense of this stuff, so it didn't come out of the general coffers, which was even a better thing.
Yes.
For those folks out there. But I heard nothing but positive, particularly the concerts. I mean, the concerts, the parades, the floats, the symposiums. I mean, you could go on and on. It was quite a year. It really was.
Absolutely. What was your favorite part of, and I think I know the answer to this, but what was your favorite part of Quincy 400?
Well, you know, Flag Day is always my favorite event.
I was going to say that.
And I thought the team did an incredible job with the floats.
Yeah.
I really told the history of the city and got a lot of good compliments on those. But every event was terrific. John Fogerty,
Right?
you know, I like a
80
lot of
years
his
old.
songs. And
Yeah.
I didn't have high expectations because of his age, but he crushed it. He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, but the beauty was going into this, we said to the team, look, we want everybody to be able to connect with something during the course of the year. And I think that was there. I think
Right.
there was enough going on for people of all ages, of all interests, that they could connect with something.
Yeah. Did you incorporate, I know we talked about the beginning of the year, incorporating the schools as part of Quincy 400.
Yeah, schools did some things.
Did they?
You know, I know one of the plays from the drama, and certainly the band was involved in
Oh,
a number
for
of our
sure.
events.
Yes.
So, yeah, in fact, the halftime show in one of the games during this year, I think, again, some of it was replayed at Thanksgiving,
Yes.
but that spoke about the history. Matt Kavanaugh and Mike DeMarco and the kids did a phenomenal job with our schools. So it's all good. It's all good. It's hard to believe it's over.
You know, you mentioned some of the folks that are involved, the entire cast of characters behind the scenes. Looking at the Quincy 300 exhibition at Old Town Hall, there's a wall of names of everybody who was involved in Quincy 300. Do you
Right.
think the same thing will happen for Quincy 400?
Oh gosh, I don't know. That
Yeah.
list would be very long.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
Bob Damon put that display together in our museum on the 300. We thought it was pretty cool to do that in light of what was going on with the 400. They really get into it. I mean, Pageant Field
Yes.
was named for the reason they held a pageant, reenacting a number of our historical events.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, you know, we're working now on the Quincy. As part of Quincy's celebration of America's 250th.
Yes.
And so we're moving forward and trying to plan some of those events out.
Yes,
Well,
can-
I don't think it'll be as robust as 400, but we'll do some things.
Can you give us a little preview, maybe? Just a little
I don't
teaser?
have a preview.
Oh.
We're working on it.
Okay.
Really, yeah. Working with the Park Service, of course, and other entities here, Quincy Historical Society and all, to maybe accentuate some things they're already doing, and then build in some new program for the year.
Okay, I know that one of the hopes for Quincy 400 was to have broken ground on the Adams Presidential Center. That has not happened, although it's starting, right?
Well, the Adams Presidential Center is ongoing. It's staffed. They're doing programming. They're doing stuff online.
Yeah.
They held a number of symposiums this
did,
past year,
yes.
which was excellent. So you don't necessarily need a full building to do all of that.
Okay.
So the planning continues. We have an architect which is about to get on board. City Council voted to approve the general contractor, CM at risk, we call it. And we'll move forward. We'll continue to, once we get a little bit more detail, a little meat on the bone as far as a physical complex, we'll begin to share that with the public, get some input, and eventually go to the city council with a plan, and hopefully we'll get some buy-in.
Yeah, I know that was a key part of your hope was to have the public give their comments, right?
Absolutely. Going back, we did have a lot of interest in the APC when we first announced it.
Yes.
And there's a lot of interest in a performing arts center. So the ability to maybe put these two together in a building, I think would be very well received.
Yeah, and also maybe the City of Quincy Welcome Center at the same time?
Yeah, we're looking at that as well as the Park Service,
Wow.
whether maybe that's a fit with the theme in that building. It
Yeah.
might be a fit for all of those. So
Okay.
again, we'll take it a step at a time.
Yeah, so what's kind of the next step then going forward?
Next step is to engage with the architect.
Okay.
The committee has recommended one to me. We got to put the contract together, engage with the CM at risk, bring them together, and then begin. We put a little bit of money aside just to get us through some schemes, some conceptual drawings, and maybe some massing on the site and how it would connect with the rest of the square and how to do the entrances, what kind of square footage we're looking at, all of those things. That'll be the first. So you can't go out and talk to the public until you have a little something to talk to them about.
Well, they're going to
And I
ask
think a
questions
little
like
bit.
I'm asking,
That's
right?
exactly right.
Yeah.
And hopefully some images will answer a number of those questions,
Right.
but then from there build support.
Still thinking the Monroe Building is a
Still
possible
thinking that location. Yep.
location? Yeah,
Yep.
but not
It's a
that
great spot.
Not that building, though, right?
No, the building would, yeah, I mean, if we're going to do a new building, the old one would come down.
Okay.
It's way too costly to try to renovate. It's a charming building, but it doesn't have any great historic value.
I would assume there'd be all kinds of ADA requirements you'd have to adhere to for a new structure, things like that.
All of those things,
Yeah.
seismic codes.
Right.
Yeah,
Seismic codes, things you wouldn't even think of.
correct.
Right? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Brings me to the T station in back there. Any update on perhaps an update of that facility?
No. Disappointingly, I don't have an update. I know that I have a couple of people that meet with the T team on a regular basis, and they're trying to figure out. There's some issues with the commuter rail and whether a second track is needed, how they would accommodate that. It gets a little complicated. They want to get it right if they're going to build a new station, which is something we want. We can't really do much development around it until we get that settled, really, and underway. But we're still pushing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The hope is to move the busway over to Bergen Parkway side, isn't that
Yeah,
right?
that's been consistent through
Yeah.
all of our early massings and drawings that get that congestion out of the square side, put on the 4-lane road side
Right.
of Bergen Parkway, get it in under the weather, and I think it would help overall. And then that opens up that space between the Quincy Center Station and the Monroe Building for some possible development.
No, okay, all right. While we're on the subject of the T, I guess, any update on the current bus garage on Hancock Streets as the new one's under construction over on Bergen Parkway?
Yeah, the new one's supposed to be ready in early 27.
Yes. Yeah.
And we are working with the T on securing the location of the old one.
Okay.
The city and the state would, as I understand, they haven't signed any agreements, but as I understand verbally, that the city and state would then apply for some grant monies to help clean the site, because we know it's a DEP site. It's been a place of mechanical operation garage for a long time.
100 years probably, right?
Yeah, before the T was around.
That's right,
So
yeah.
we're assuming that there's some bad stuff in that soil. We want to do the right thing and at least secure the property. The state would take the old garage down. The city and state would then work, hopefully with the federal government, with some brownfield money and get the site clean. And then at least it's under control, and then continue to move forward. Look forward to see, okay, what would be best use, perhaps augment uses at the stadium. At the very least, once we take it down, the site is clean. It could be used for parking in the meantime. There's a lot of uses at the stadium that require parking, and we don't have a lot of parking for that use.
Yes, that's
at
true.
venue.
Like concerts.
Like concerts,
Yes.
Rugby games, you name it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there maybe a concert planned for America 250 here
Yes,
in
we're
Quincy?
definitely
There will
looking
be
at a
one.
musical festival. We'd like to make it an annual event,
Yeah.
a musical festival at the stadium, and a 2 or 3 day, a day event for 2 or 3 different stars or bands or
Yeah,
whatever you want to
yeah.
call it. But it was so well received this past year. People have been asking me, "We got to do this again.
I'm
we got to do
sure.
this again."
Yeah.
So
You set
yes,
the bar
we-
high, Mayor.
So, yeah, the team did a great job. They really did.
Yeah.
And the weather cooperated, so we were
Amazingly.
very fortunate.
Yeah.
So let's. We never go backwards, Joe. Right? So we plan to have a good event in early August.
We kind of glossed over, but the pop-up Dropkick Murphys concert was a huge success, actually.
It was a huge success. I know there was some security
There was
issues, concerns
yeah.
about that. The police did a remarkable job. They had reached out to us. They said, we'd like to participate. We started in Quincy and Ken Casey, and sure enough, it went very, very well.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the police, Mayor, the new police station looks like it's about done. What is the update on that?
Yes, so we expect to be moved in probably by the end of January.
Okay.
It it looks good, but there's a punch list, the typical project. You go through the building, a number of things have to be fixed, touched up, what have you. We want to make sure everything is working perfectly. Commissioning the systems, was the HVAC systems or the 911 system. We want that to be perfect, of course. So there's no urgency to get into it. So I told the department heads, the chiefs, let's make sure we take our time, get it right, and then once that occurs, then the process begins of remediating the old station, and then that'll be knocked down, of course, demolished.
Right. And is it kind of like a one-day, everybody moving, across the street into
No,
the
I think
new
it's a
building?
gradual. I think they're already moving some stuff in.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
But there's not a ton to move because the building's brand new, the
mostly new,
furniture's
right?
brand new,
Yeah.
so there isn't a lot of stuff. I mean, obviously there's files, there's evidence, there's other pieces of equipment that they have to bring over, but
Right.
Not a lot.
Right. Yeah, I think I told you I had a chance to tour it a few weeks ago, and it looked ready to go. It's all new furniture. The front lobby is really impressive with some nostalgic photographs. And as soon as you walk in, you'll know if you want to use the police department or the fire department because they're right separated from each other,
Yeah.
clearly labeled.
The architects did a good job on that.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful building, and I'm so proud of the team on this. We knew what we needed. We brought the team together. I let the department heads manage the program in the inside. I worked with a secondary architect on the outside. There's thousands of vehicles that go by that site every day, so it really is a Quincy building. It's got the brick, it's got the granite, it's got the slate and copper. It'll be there 100 years, which was very important. You can build things on the cheap, and then you're dealing with issues every decade.
Right.
You got to fix. This is a building that'll be around a long time.
Yeah. Will there be an official name, or is it just the Quincy Public Safety?
Public Safety Headquarters. Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Will there be a public kind of opening at some
Yeah,
point?
we're probably going to wait till the spring.
Okay.
I think we'll need like to have the grounds finished up, and
Sure.
that's where you'd probably have a ceremony outside.
Yep.
So that's the goal.
Okay. And then the old one, timeline for removing the old building?
As soon as they get it cleaned up on the inside, the asbestos, the lead, the PCBs, whatever may be in there,
Yeah.
that has to be all remediated, and then, of course, we'll take the building. It shouldn't take long to take that building down. Trust me on that one.
I bet the original part will be tougher to demolish than the addition.
I'm sure of that,
Yeah.
Joe. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then plans for a park there eventually?
Yeah, green that up, put some trees in, beautiful lawn. It'll clean that corner up. And, of course, as you know, we spent a lot of detail. The wall, for example, that surrounds that site matches the cemetery wall.
Yep.
A little lighter in granite because over time the granite gets dark.
Sure.
But really looks great so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other things you're looking forward to in 2026, Mayor, here in the city?
Every day is a gift. I'm blessed to serve as mayor of this great city. We got a great team. We're getting the job done. I know that we had a lot of complaints about disruption with roads, but they're all coming back together. They're looking beautiful. We're on the Squantum School now. That's going to be an additional asset, not only to Squantum, but to our entire school system. We'll continue to move forward on plans, and I welcome the new councils. Look forward to working with them on behalf of the people of Quincy, and a new year, so good stuff.
Yeah. Any personal resolutions on your part?
I'll keep those to myself. Maybe 20 pounds, Joe.
Okay. Folks will ask me if I asked you, have you decided whether or not you'll be seeking re-election in 2027?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I always say about a year out is the right time to make that decision. That will be a personal decision at the
Certainly.
time.
Yeah.
See where I am in life. My kids are getting older. I got one getting married next year.
Oh,
and, excited
congratulations.
about that. And I'll be a little older, a couple of years out. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if I still have the fire in the belly,
Yeah.
there's always things you want to get done. That list never ends. But if I still have the fire in the belly and want to do it, then we'll do it again. But again, that'll happen a year out.
Sure. Okay. I know that you've said you would like Massachusetts to own America 250. Have you seen that at the state level?
I really haven't, Joe. And not to be critical of anybody, but I thought, the license plates are out. Those are great.
I didn't know. I thought they were Delaware plates at first when I saw them. I had to look closely.
Yeah, they do look nice,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I was hoping to see. I know they're doing a concert and fireworks sometime next year.
Yes,
is what I hear from the committee. I'd like to see more on the educational side in all our school systems. I think we got to get back to some of the basics and tell the history of this great country. One of the symposiums recently was phenomenal over at the church by the Adams Presidential Center, held at the church, and a couple of terrific guests. And one of the questions of the author was about the slavery issue and why, somebody said the Founding Fathers failed us. The Founding Fathers didn't fail us. they planted the seeds and really set the fire for the end of slavery. When you think about both the wording in the Declaration, but also in the Constitution.
Yes.
It took a while, but it was the first time in the history of the world that a nation said this is not a good thing,
Yeah.
and it was eradicated. And by the way, slavery was around for thousands of years. It wasn't invented in North America. So to see it end and have our country really show leadership on that issue is phenomenal. So there's so much to celebrate. Obviously, John Adams, John Hancock, Abigail. There's so much that we should know. If you graduate public schools in Quincy, you should know the ground you're walking. I think at the very least. But I think we got to get back to telling the real history.
Do you have a holiday message for folks, Mayor?
Oh gosh, I know it's a great time of year. You know, whether it's Hanukkah you just celebrated, or coming into Christmas season. I know for me it brings back memories of childhood, your family, your parents. It's a wonderful time of the year, and you know, I love this time of year. I love the lights. I love the celebrations. I love the message of peace and joy. So I certainly want to wish the public a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a new year filled with good health, happiness, and pray for peace in the world. We need it.
Thanks, Mayor. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Joe.
You're very welcome. Check the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. Kind of what you see is what you get. Sunny, windy, and cold. Low 30s this afternoon, low 20s tonight. We've got some snow moving in tomorrow. Sorry, Mayor. Break out the plows.
It happens.
Possibly. At least the brine. Kind of a slushy inch or so by tomorrow night. But it'll clear out here for Wednesday and looks very nice on Christmas Day with a high around 40 degrees. Thanks again to Mayor Thomas Koch for joining us.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you to our crew, and thank you for watching. We're off now until January 5th. We'll welcome the Norfolk County RSVP program here. Meantime, check our website. It's qatv.org. All of our latest programs are there with news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and much more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a very happy, healthy, and safe holiday season.